Who are the Shite-Busters? Fat cow and fat cow. Between them they have some experience in some stuff. The Shite-Busters, they don't just tell the shit, they bust it. IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome is a common disorder that affects the stomach and intestines, also called the gastrointestinal tract. Symptoms include cramping, abdominal pain, bloating, gas, and diarrhea or constipation, or both. IBS is a chronic condition that you'll need to manage long term. Triggers. Symptoms of IBS can be triggered by food. The role of food allergy or intolerance in IBS isn't fully understood. A true food allergy rarely causes IBS, but many people have worse IBS symptoms when they eat or drink certain food or beverages. These include wheat, dairy products, citrus fruits, beans, cabbage, milk, and carbonated drinks. Stress. Most people with IBS experience worse or more frequent symptoms during periods of increased stress, but while stress may make symptoms worse, it doesn't cause them. The FODMAP diet lists foods that are either easy to digest or are very hard to digest and is recommended to everyone suffering with IBS. Foods that should be avoided are dairy products, beans, processed meats, gluten or wheat-based products, high fructose foods, sugar-free foods and drinks, some fruits and some nuts. Well, there we have it. It is obviously of no surprise to anyone that foods that are difficult to digest or that are high in fat are not recommended for people suffering with IBS. Dairy products in particular seem to be the culprit, not salads as some people have claimed. Cheese, for example, is extremely high in fat, which, along with other dairy-dense foods that are made from whole milk, like full-fat Greek yogurt, should be avoided. Whole wheat and rye-based breads and bagels and baked goods are also best avoided, along with high-fibre foods such as broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, apples, watermelon, and any sugar-free products that are, sugar-free, such as 0 or low-calorie soda. Grapefruit. There are many common drug interactions with grapefruit juice. Medicines that can interact include certain cholesterol medicines, antihistamines, migraine treatments, or even cancer therapies. The list of medications that grapefruit can interfere with are listed below in alphabetical order. I shall not read them because I will probably muck them up immensely, but please pause if you need to. Gallbladder. Your gallbladder is a small, pear-shaped organ located under your liver that stores and releases bile. Bile is the fluid your liver produces that helps digest fats in the food you eat. Without your gallbladder, bile flows freely into your small intestine, where it can't break down food as effectively as it did within your gallbladder. After gallbladder removal surgery, it's best to avoid the following foods: fatty, greasy or fried food, spicy food, sweet and sugary foods, caffeine found in tea, coffee, chocolate and energy drinks, alcoholic drinks, carbonated beverages, high-fat meats such as bacon, sausage, ground beef and ribs, high-fat dairy products such as full-fat yogurts, cheese and high-fibre foods. Right, bosh. Fatty, greasy, fried food, no. Right, no gallbladder, no digestion of the stuff that has the fat in, things like, like cheese, right? Or fried foods, or like processed meats, or like things that have been made with lots of butter. Okay, also no caffeine, no, bosh, right? Avoid caffeine, so no chocolate, no coffee and no cola. Also carbonated beverages, which means no cola. Also sugar-free stuff, so no diet cola. Alright, high fats meats like sausage, ground beef, the sort of thing you make meatloaf out of. Also high fat dairy products such as cheese, right, and full fat Greek yogurt, high fibre foods, obviously, mate. Avoid all that shit. Diet soda. Diet sodas contain sweeteners instead of sugar. While this may make them preferable to more sugary options, diet soda has links to weight gain and metabolic syndrome, which can make diabetes worse. In a study, individuals who considered a specific artificial sweetener had increases in both insulin and blood glucose levels. Frequent rises in insulin have been linked to insulin resistance and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes.
Alright, well, this might come as a surprise to some people, but diet sodas contain sweeteners instead of sugar. And in my opinion, that's actually a good thing, especially if you've got diabetes or if you're trying to lose weight. But diet sodas actually make your diabetes worse. There was this study, right, and individuals who consumed a specific type of artificial sweetener, the kind that they have in diet sodas, had an increase in both insulin and blood glucose levels, and frequent rises in insulin have been linked to insulin resistance, and that increases your symptoms of diabetes, which is why if you have diabetes you shouldn't drink it. Also, artificial sweeteners aggravate IBS if you happen to actually have it.
Red meat. People who eat just 2 servings of red meat per week may have increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to people who eat fewer servings, and the risk increases with greater consumption, according to a new study led by researchers from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. They also found that replacing red meat with healthy plant-based protein sources, such as nuts and legumes, or modest amounts of dairy food, were associated with reduced risks of type 2 diabetes and type 2 diabetic symptoms.
Geezers, down at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, did this study. And they discovered, when they compared people that had red meat twice a week to people that didn't have red meat twice a week, that the people that ate the red meat, they made their diabetic symptoms worse. And, get in, people who ate even more red meat than that made their symptoms even worse. Get in there. Gotta axe the red meat, mate. Especially if you've got diabetes, mate. Well, if the research by the scientists and the medical professionals is to be believed, there seems to be a lot of foods that patients with diabetes, IBS and no longer have a gallbladder shouldn't eat. These forbidden foods that all these conditions share in common are dairy products such as cheese, yoghurt, ice cream, custard, cream and butter, processed meats such as deli meats and cured meats like sausage, and minced meat, red meat, not good, sugar-free drinks such as 0 low-calorie soda, high-fibre fruits and nuts like apples and pears and the like. Also, you shouldn't eat vegetables that are like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, that kind of stuff, which is quite obvious really, because even people that don't have problems with their belly tend to find the foods a little bit farty. Also, sugar and high sugar foods such as candy, honey, pastries, fruit juices, also products that have wheat and gluten in them, which is pretty much all pasta, most bread, baked goods and pastries again. Biscuits are not recommended either. Also, there are beans and legumes, which is kind of like the other vegetables I mentioned. Foods that make you farty are not recommended to people that have trouble with their bellies. Spicy foods will aggravate your stomach quite notoriously, and fatty and fried food. So again, that goes back to cheese. Red meat, especially if it's been fried, things cooked in batter. Also, it's highly recommended that you avoid caffeine, so that's no coffee, especially with whole milk or cream and no sodies. All right, love?
Cold rice. Studies have found that cooking rice and then leaving it to cool overnight before eating it does lower the glycemic index, but only from being a high glycemic food at 73 points to the top end of moderately high at 68. Additionally, the study was only tested on type 1 diabetic patients. Vinegar. In a very small study conducted in 2010 on type 1 diabetics only, it was shown that apple cider vinegar in hot water may reduce blood sugar. The only other study was conducted on rats.